To solve this equation we start by doing the same to both sides. So, first of all subtract 1 from both sides, and then divide both sides by 12. There are now 3 ways to take the square root. The first way of taking the square root of both sides is to think of it as minus 1 times 1 over 12. Then if you take the square root, we're going to get plus or minus for square roots, square root of minus 1 times square root of 1 over the square root of 12. That equals plus or minus I times 1 over 2 root 3. Now, we want to rationalise the denominator, so we'll multiply by root 3 over root 3, and then we'll get plus or minus I times root 3 over 6. In other words, plus or minus root 3i over 6. Here's the second way of doing the square root. You think of it as x squared equals minus 1 over 12. Now when you square root both sides, you get x equals plus or minus, because it's square root, then the square root of minus 1 over the square root of 12. That's going to be plus or minus I over 2 root 3. And then when we rationalise the denominator in the same way as before, multiply by root 3 over root 3, we're going to get plus or minus root 3i over 6. Same answer we got before. So here's the third option. I don't know why you'd want to do this, but in case you did, x squared, we're now thinking of it as the fraction 1 over minus 12. So if we take the square root, we're going to get x equals plus or minus the square root of 1 over the square root of minus 12, which is plus or minus the square root of 1 over the square root of minus 1 times the square root of 12. So that's plus or minus 1 over I times 2 root 3. So we need to rationalise the denominator, multiplying top and bottom by root 3 just like before, and we get plus or minus root 3 over 6i. We've rationalised the denominator, so there's no longer a surd on the bottom of the fraction, but it still looks wrong because there's an I on the bottom of the fraction. We don't want that. So we've rationalised the denominator. We're now going to realise the denominator, make the denominator real, multiplying top and bottom by I. So that's going to give us plus or minus root 3i over 6 times I squared, which is minus 1, so minus 6. That's the same, take that minus outside, as saying minus or plus root 3i over 6. It doesn't really make any difference. You can write it as plus or minus root 3i over 6. So that just shows all 3 options, all 3 ways of thinking about it have given us the same answer.